Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. What separates ordinary men from the ones women never forget is not money, not looks, not status. It's what they do in the most private, intimate moments that reveals everything about who they truly are. Some men think it's about performance, but the truth is far deeper. The men who stand out, who leave a lasting mark on a woman's heart, are the ones who know how to turn intimacy into connection, passion into presence, and desire into something unforgettable. And once you understand this, you'll see why these men are always the most desired, the most cherished, and the most remembered. Because in the end, what makes a man unforgettable is not what he has, but how he makes her feel. It is not the perfection of his body, but the perfection of his presence. It is not the size of his ego, but the size of his heart. And men who understand this truth will always be the most admired, the most cherished, and the most desired in the places that truly matter. But let's go even deeper into this. Think about it. When a man is in the bedroom, it is one of the most vulnerable places he can be. There is no suit to hide behind, no title, no bank account to flash. It is simply him and the woman before him, stripped of the world's pretenses. And in that space, what he chooses to bring forward reveals everything about who he truly is. The men who stand out are the ones who bring honesty. They do not pretend to be someone they are not. They do not exaggerate what they can do, and they do not make promises they cannot keep. Honesty in intimacy is powerful because it allows both people to relax, to breathe, to experience without the weight of lies. A woman will always remember the man who made her feel that the moment was real, because realness is rare. These men also understand the importance of curiosity. They do not enter the bedroom with a screen, expecting every moment to play out like a scene. Instead, they are curious explorers, willing to learn, willing to adapt, willing to discover new layers of connection. They pay attention not only to what excites, but also to what comforts. Their curiosity keeps the flame alive because it prevents routine from stealing the magic. A woman who feels that she is being discovered anew every single time will never grow bored because she knows her man is invested in the journey, not just the destination. And then there is the matter of touch. Touch is more than physical. It is spiritual, emotional, psychological. Men who excel in the bedroom know how to touch with intention. They do not rush. They do not grab without care. Their touch carries meaning. It says, I desire you, I respect you, I value you. And this kind of touch awakens not just the body, but the heart. It makes her feel beautiful, cherished, and deeply feminine. When touch is mindful, it becomes healing, it becomes memorable, it becomes addictive. Men who do this also understand rhythm. Intimacy has a natural rhythm, like music, and the best experiences happen when two people move together in harmony. It is not about one forcing the other, but about creating a flow that both can enjoy. A man who can feel that rhythm, who can adjust and adapt, who can lead without overwhelming, becomes unforgettable because he makes the experience feel effortless. He creates a dance, and every dance leaves its imprint in the memory. Another powerful trait is gratitude. Gratitude in the bedroom may sound unusual, but it is transformative. When a man carries an attitude of gratitude, thankful for the connection, thankful for the trust, thankful for the intimacy shared, it shows in the way he moves, in the way he speaks, in the way he holds her afterward. Gratitude creates reverence, and reverence makes the experience sacred. Woman can always sense when she is appreciated, when her presence is not taken for granted. And when she feels that, she is drawn even closer, because gratitude deepens bonds. The men who stand out are also those who carry self-control. Passion is beautiful, but without self-control, it can become reckless. Men who are unforgettable know how to balance fire with restraint. They can heighten desire without rushing to consume it all at once. They know that the art of building anticipation is more powerful than rushing into satisfaction. Self-control makes every moment intense because it stretches desire, and stretched desire creates unforgettable intensity. Another mark of these men is reassurance, not in words alone, but in actions. They reassure with consistency, with the way they check in, with the way they make her feel secure. A woman's body responds when her mind is at ease, and men who reassure, who protect, who calm anxieties, unlock a depth of intimacy others can only dream of. Reassurance creates freedom. It tells her she can be her truest self without fear of judgment, without fear of rejection. And when she feels that, she gives herself completely because trust has been established. Communication is another gift that these men embrace. They do not shy away from expressing desires, from asking questions, from sharing feelings. They know that silence may leave room for assumptions, but open communication builds understanding. They use their words not to dominate, but to connect. They affirm, they encourage, they excite with the way they speak. And those words, spoken in the right moment, carry power far beyond the bedroom because words linger in the mind long after the touch has ended. Men who do this also understand aftercare. Too many think intimacy ends at the climax, but the ones who are unforgettable know that it continues long after. It is in the way he holds her, the way he makes sure she feels safe, the way he does not simply walk away, but stays present. Aftercare communicates, "You matter to me beyond the act." And that message is powerful because it reinforces that the experience was not just physical, but emotional and even spiritual. They also embrace adaptability. No two moments are ever the same. Every encounter has its own rhythm, its own needs, its own mood. A man who is adaptable does not force the same pattern every time. He senses the energy, the mood, the flow, and he adjusts. That adaptability keeps intimacy alive, keeps it exciting, keeps it meaningful. It shows flexibility, and flexibility is what allows two people to meet each other in the moment rather than trying to control it. And above all, men who do this in the bedroom carry love as their foundation. Whether it is expressed through passion, through touch, through words, or through presence, the root of it all is love. Love does not mean weakness. Love does not mean losing masculinity. Love, in its truest form, means strength, patience, sacrifice, and care. When love is present, every moment becomes more powerful because it is not just about desire, but about connection. It transforms intimacy into something unforgettable. These men are the most sought after not because they chase validation, but because they create experiences that cannot be duplicated. They understand that intimacy is not about performance, but about connection, not about ego, but about giving, not about control, but about balance. They carry qualities that extend beyond the bedroom, qualities that reveal who they are as men in every aspect of life. And because of that, they leave an impression that no woman forgets. So when you hear that men who do this in the bedroom are the most desired, the most cherished, the most unforgettable, understand that it is not by accident. It is by intention. It is by choosing presence over distraction, generosity over selfishness, connection over conquest, and love over ego. And the men who choose these thin, GS stand in a class of their own, because what they give in that sacred space is not just pleasure, but an experience that touches the soul. So when you hear that men who do this in the bedroom are the most desired, the most cherished, the most unforgettable, understand that it is not by accident. It is by intention. It is by choosing presence over distraction, generosity over selfishness, connection over conquest, and love over ego. And the men who choose these things stand in a class of their own, because what they give in that sacred space is not just pleasure, but an experience that touches the soul. But let's peel back another layer, because what truly sets these men apart is the mindset they carry into intimacy. They see it not as an obligation or a performance, but as a sacred exchange of energy. They know that the bedroom is a reflection of how they show up in life. A man who is careless here is often careless elsewhere. But a man who is attentive, patient, and intentional in this space is often that way in every area of his world. That is why he becomes unforgettable, because he is not wearing a mask. He is consistent. His actions in the bedroom mirror his character outside of it. These men do not measure themselves by unrealistic standards. They are not enslaved to comparison because they understand that intimacy is not about competing with someone else. It is about connecting with the person in front of them. When a man releases himself from the chains of comparison, he is free to give his best without pressure. That freedom makes him relaxed, and that relaxation makes him magnetic. A woman can sense when a man is comfortable in his own skin, and that comfort gives her permission to be comfortable too. It creates an atmosphere where both can show up authentically, without fear, without pretense. Another dimension that separates them is creativity. They are not bound to monotony, nor do they allow routine to steal the excitement from intimacy. They experiment with new ways to connect, not because they are restless, but because they want to keep the spark alive. Creativity is not about extremes. It is about thoughtful variation, about surprising her with something new, about showing that he cares enough to invest effort into keeping the flame burning. This effort communicates value, and when a woman feels valued, her response is amplified, her energy is doubled, and her memory of the experience becomes unforgettable. Men who do this are also deeply attuned to the emotional climate. They can sense when she is carrying stress, when she is distracted, when she needs tenderness more than passion, or when she needs fire more than comfort. That sensitivity to her emotions allows them to shift gears seamlessly, making intimacy not just a physical act, but an emotional healing space. These men are remembered because they do not just satisfy, they restore. They turn intimacy into a sanctuary where worries melt, where burdens fade, where she feels lighter, freer, and more alive. They are also men who celebrate her body without judgment. They do not pick apart flaws, they do not criticize, they do not compare. They understand that real intimacy means embracing someone fully, scars and all. When a man does this, he becomes magnetic because every woman desires to be seen as beautiful without conditions. A man who celebrates her body as it is gives her a confidence that makes her bloom even more. And when she blooms, the connection between them flourishes in ways that cannot be replicated with shallow admiration. These men also understand silence. Not every moment has to be filled with words or sounds. Sometimes it is the silence, the breathing, the closeness, the stillness that speaks the loudest. Men who are comfortable with silence are men who are secure in themselves. They know they do not need constant noise to prove their presence. That calmness becomes a grounding foe. Making her feel safe, making her feel anchored, and it is in that safety that the deepest intimacy is born. Another quality that makes these men stand out is humility. They are not ashamed to learn, to ask, to admit when they don't know everything. They see intimacy as a journey, not a destination where they have already arrived. This humility opens the door to growth, and growth in intimacy means a bond that only gets stronger with time. A woman remembers the man who was not too proud to grow with her because she knows that in that humility lies strength, and in that strength lies reliability. These men also know the importance of consistency. They do not shine once and then fade. They show up again and again with the same attentiveness, the same presence, the same generosity. Consistency builds trust, and trust builds passion. When a woman knows she can rely on him, when she knows the experience will not be a hit or miss, she relaxes into the connection with full openness. And that full openness makes every moment richer, every touch deeper, every experience unforgettable. They also embody patience in understanding her rhythms. Every woman is different, and every moment is different. A man who pays attention to her rhythms, who does not rush her, who allows her to unfold in her own time, becomes unforgettable because he honors her uniqueness. Patience communicates, you matter, your pace matters, your needs matter. And that message transforms intimacy into a powerful act of love. What also sets these men apart is their ability to bring intentional focus. In a world full of distractions, a man who can shut out the noise and be fully present in the bedroom is rare. No phone, no wandering thoughts, no divided attention, just him and her, locked in a moment that feels eternal. That level of focus creates intensity because it tells her she is the most important person in his world in that instant, and nothing makes someone feel more cherished than undivided attention. Hey, also understand reciprocity. They know that intimacy is not one-sided, that joy is amplified when it is shared. They do not come with a mindset of what can I get, but rather, what can we build together? Reciprocity creates balance, and balance is what makes the experience fulfilling for both. When she feels that her joy is his joy, her fulfillment is his fulfillment, the bond between them deepens beyond the physical. And let us not forget the role of passion. Men who do this in the bedroom are the most unforgettable because their passion is undeniable. Not reckless, not careless, but controlled fire. They pour their energy fully into the moment, leaving no doubt about their desire, leaving no question about their commitment to making the experience powerful. Passion fuels memory because passion cannot be ignored. It marks the heart, it imprints the soul, and it makes the moment unforgettable. These men are also protectors of the connection. They do not allow outside interference. They do not let stress or ego rob the intimacy of its power. They guard the sacredness of that space, treating it with the respect it deserves. This protection makes her feel that what they share is not ordinary, but extraordinary, not casual, but meaningful. And when intimacy feels meaningful, it becomes something she will always treasure. They also know how to celebrate not just the act, but the bond. To them, intimacy is not simply about pleasure, but about affirming the relationship, about strengthening the foundation, about expressing love in its rawest form. When a man sees intimacy as a celebration of the bond, every encounter feels like a renewal of commitment. And that makes him unforgettable because he ties every moment to something bigger than just the physical. So men who do this in the bedroom are indeed the most cherished because they do not reduce intimacy to nix. They elevate it to meaning. They transform it into art, into healing, into connection, into celebration. They carry qualities that cannot be faked, qualities that reflect the depth of their character, qualities that reveal the strength of their masculinity without diminishing tenderness. And it is those qualities that leave a mark no woman ever forgets because they reach beyond the body and into the soul. So men who do this in the bedroom are indeed the most cherished because they do not reduce intimacy to mechanics. They elevate it to meaning. They transform it into art, into healing, into connection, into celebration. They carry qualities that cannot be faked, qualities that reflect the depth of their character, qualities that reveal the strength of their masculinity without diminishing tenderness. And it is those qualities that leave a mark no woman ever forgets because they reach beyond the body and into the soul. But what makes them even more extraordinary is their ability to remain consistent across time. The thrill of a new connection can be intoxicating, but maintaining that spark as the days turn into months and the months into years requires intention. Men who do this in the bedroom understand that passion is not something that fades. It is something that must be nurtured. They do not let routine kill desire, nor do they allow comfort to slip into complacency. They reinvent moments. They keep curiosity alive. They approach their partner as though she is new every day, not because they have to, but because they genuinely see her as an endless universe to explore. That kind of devotion keeps intimacy alive and makes every moment feel fresh, every embrace feel like the first, and every connection feel unforgettable. They also understand the importance of balance between intensity and gentleness. They know that intimacy is not always about fire. Sometimes it is about stillness, about quiet touches, about closeness that needs no words, the ability to sense when to pour out passion and when to simply hold, when to ignite flames and when to provide comfort separates them from the rest. It shows emotional intelligence, it shows depth, and it makes their presence addictive because it creates an experience that is not one-dimensional, but layered, textured, and deeply fulfilling. Another trait that sets them apart is their ability to see intimacy as a dialogue, not a monologue. They do not dominate every moment without listening. Instead, they allow her responses to guide them. They see the connection as a conversation, where each action is an expression and each reaction is a reply. And just like in any great conversation, they pay attention, they adapt, they engage, they listen. This ability to treat intimacy as dialogue makes the experience feel alive, spontaneous, and tailored, rather than mechanical or repetitive. These men also know how to cultivate emotional intimacy outside of the bedroom, and that is why their presence inside of it is unmatched. They understand that a woman's heart and mind are deeply connected to her body. They invest in the little things, the laughter, the conversations, the support, the encouragement, because they know those things build trust. And trust is the foundation of intimacy. When she feels valued beyond the physical, when she feels secure outside of those private moments, she brings all of herself into them. That is why these men are unforgettable. They build intimacy before the bedroom and deepen it when they are in it. They also understand the art of anticipation. They do not limit intimacy to a single space or a single moment. They weave it into the day, into the way they look at her, into the way they touch her hand, into the way they whisper something that lingers in her mind long before the bedroom doors close. Anticipation builds desire, and desire built slowly is more powerful than nothing rushed. These men make intimacy begin long before it physically happens, and that makes the experience unforgettable because it is charged with layers of energy that build up naturally over time. Another thing that sets them apart is how they protect her dignity in every moment. They do not use intimacy to belittle, to control, or to manipulate. Instead, they use it to uplift, to affirm, and to empower. When a woman feels that her dignity is safe, she surrenders fully because she knows she is not just being desired, she is being honored. That sense of honor is rare, and it is the reason why these men remain engraved in memory long after the moments themselves have passed. They are also men who understand the power of eye contact. Eyes reveal what words cannot. When he looks at her, not just with desire, but with reverence, with appreciation, with raw honesty, it creates a connection that no touch alone can achieve. Eye contact communicates presence, and presence communicates truth. A woman can feel when his eyes tell her, "You are all I see," and that message becomes an imprint on her soul, one she will never forget. Another profound quality is their ability to create an atmosphere. They understand that the environment matters, that the tone of the moment is shaped by the details. It is not always about grand gestures, but about creating comfort, softness, warmth, attention to mood. The care they put into creating the right atmosphere shows effort, and effort communicates value. When a woman senses that effort has been made, she feels cherished, and that makes the experience not only pleasurable but deeply meaningful. They are also men who embrace patience with learning curves. They understand that intimacy grows with time, that every connection is unique, and that perfection is not required for beauty. Instead of becoming frustrated, they lean into the process, celebrating the progress, savoring the growth, and treating each step as an opportunity to deepen the bond. That patience becomes a source of security because she knows she will never be rushed or judged, but always guided with care and acceptance. Men who do this in the bedroom also carry an energy of playfulness that keeps the connection lighthearted. They do not make every moment so heavy with seriousness that it loses joy. They infuse laughter, teasing, spontaneity, and fun into the experience. That playfulness allows both to relax, to be themselves without pressure. And when intimacy feels playful, it feels free, and freedom is what makes passion thrive. They also understand the value of presence after the moment is over. They do not treat intimacy as something disposable or transactional. Instead, they linger, they hold, they affirm, they let her know that she matters beyond the act. That continuity turns intimacy into connection because it extends the meaning beyond physical satisfaction. A woman always remembers the man who stayed, who embraced, who nurtured the connection even when the moment was complete. Another quality that distinguishes them is discipline. They know how to balance their own desires with the needs of their partner. They are not ruled by impulse. They are guided by intention. Discipline makes them leaders in intimacy because it allows them to create structure within passion. It shows maturity, it shows strength, and it shows self-awareness. This kind of discipline makes her feel that she is with a man who can be trusted, not only in the bedroom but in life. They also know how to amplify her confidence. Instead of making her feel self-conscious, they make her feel radiant. Through affirmations, through genuine compliments, through the way they hold her, they make her feel that she is enough, more than enough. This elevation of her confidence transforms the experience because intimacy becomes a celebration of her beauty, not a critique of her flaws. And when a woman feels celebrated, she responds with a depth of passion and trust that cannot be forced. It can only be invited. Another key quality is intention. Men who do this in the bedroom do not act mindlessly. Every gesture, every movement, every pause carries thought, carries meaning. They are intentional about making the moment meaningful, about ensuring it leaves a memory. That kind of intention sets them apart because it communicates effort, and effort communicates value. They also embody resilience. Not every moment will go perfectly. Life comes with stress, fatigue, and imperfections. But these men do not allow setbacks to steal their intimacy. They adjust, they adapt, they laugh off imperfections, and they keep moving forward. This resilience makes her feel that their connection is stronger than any obstacle, and that strength creates a sense of security she will never forget. At the heart of it all, these men understand that intimacy is not about ego. It is about partnership. It is about giving as much as receiving, about cherishing as much as desiring, about building as much as enjoying. That balance, that humility, that authenticity makes them stand out. And because of it, they remain etched in memory, not for what they boasted, not for what they claimed, but for how they made her feel in the most vulnerable, the most sacred of spaces.